His Grace Bandhu Madhav Prabhu to our weekly Srimad Bhagavatam sessions. So I think many of our leaders at least know Prabhu quite personally. For me, at my personal, if I say association with Prabhu, started it from the very first day of my Krishna consciousness, because I joined in ITBL, and where Bandhu Madhav Prabhu and his elder brother Lakshmana Simha Prabhuji, both of them, along with some other devotees, they used to discuss Bhagavad Gita every day. And that's all. That's how my association personally started with Bandhu Madhav Prabhu's family. And then we went to his house. We used to go from here to Jayanagar, his house, where every Saturday morning there used to be Srimad Bhagavatam class taken by Lakshmana Simhan Prabhu. So we were, I still remember the delicious prasadam which Prabhu's mother used to prepare, typical South Indian, idli, dosa, and upma and all that. I always say that, a preacher is more a devotee. If we want to attract devotees, our personal conduct and our personal behavior should be of such a high standard that automatically people are attracted. People are attracted with philosophy to a certain extent, but more than that, they observe our, how we are behaving and how we are taking care of others. So Prabhu's family was one family which we saw that such a high standard of, humility, taking care, and all those things. We were really, really touched by that. And that's where our Krishna consciousness started. Of course, after that, I changed my job. So I moved to Manyata, and then direct association, I was put under Shivas Prabhu. But after some time, Bandhu Madhav Prabhu moved to Kalyan Nagar, and again we had his association. He was our sector servant, and Prabhu was there for in our area for some time, and then Prabhu moved to Whitefield and inspired many devotees by his preaching. I know many families which are touched by Prabhu, and they are doing so well in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhu is always approachable. You very calm. You ask him anything, he will give you answer. He will never get agitated. So it's really, really, I at my personal level is very grateful to Bandhu Madhav Prabhu and his good wife, Her Grace, Sumati Janva Mataji. They have a small child, Baldev also. So now Prabhu has moved to Coimbatore, and Prabhu was telling me yesterday that he has been a very hectic week for him. Prabhu is in IT for, I guess, for 20 years, more than 20 years. So it's Prabhu, thank you so much taking out your valuable time out of your busy schedule and to enlighten all the devotees of Radha Govindji circle. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
You wasted everybody's 5 minutes of time.
You can give 5 minutes extra, Prabhu, not a problem. Where do I get the opportunity to glorify you, Prabhu?
All right, let's get started. Om Jnanaatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakya Chakshurunmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktabanda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vacharam pangum langayate girim yat kripatam bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. I could not prepare much. It may be mostly spontaneous and whatever I have heard. So I just picked up a verse yesterday late night. It's not something very difficult to pick. It is from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 3rd chapter, 22nd verse. So this chapter, you may know that there are almost all the incarnations of the Lord are described in this chapter. So it wasn't difficult for me to just go and pick. So it's 1, 3, 22 if you want to. Let me share my screen. Share this screen. Okay, I believe my screen is visible. So it is 1:3:22 Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes, Prabhu, it's visible, Prabhu.
Thanks, Prabhu. Naradevatvam apanna Surakarya Chikirshaya Samudra Nigrahadini Chakre Viryani Atah Param. Whatever meaning Nara, human being, Devatvam, divinity, Apanna, upon assuming the form of Sura, the demigods, Karya, activities, Chikishaya, for the purpose of performing, Samudra, the Indian Ocean, Nigrahadini, controlling, etc. Chakre did perform Viryani, superhuman prowess, Atah Param, thereafter. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Savai Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rama in order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods. He executed superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist King Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea. Purport. The personality of Godhead Sri Rama assumed the form of a human being and appeared on the earth for the purpose of doing some pleasing work for the demigods or the administrative activities to maintain the order of the universe. Sometimes great demons and atheists like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu and many others become very famous due to the advancing material civilization by the help of material science and other activities with the spirit of challenging the established order of the Lord. For example, the attempt to fly to other planets by material means is a challenge to the established order. The conditions of each and every planet are different, and different classes of human beings are accommodated there for particular purposes mentioned in the codes of the Lord. But puffed up by tiny success in material advancement, sometimes the godless materialists challenge the existence of Lord. Ravana was one of them, and he wanted to deport ordinary men to the planet of Indra, heaven, by material means without consideration of necessary qualification. He wanted a staircase to be built up directly reaching the heavenly planets, so that people might not be required to undergo the routine pious work necessary to enter the planet. He also wanted to perform other acts against the established rule of the Lord. He even challenged the authority of Sri Rama, the personality of Godhead, and kidnapped his wife Sita. Of course, Lord Rama came to chastise this atheist, answering the prayer and desire of the demigods. He therefore took up the challenge of Ravana, and complete activity is subject matter of the Ramayana. Because Lord Rama was the personality of Godhead, he exhibited superhuman activities which no human beings, including the advanced Ravana, could perform. Lord Ramachandra prepared a royal road on the Indian Ocean with stones that floated on the water. The modern scientists have done research in the area of weightlessness, but it is not possible to bring in weightlessness anywhere and everywhere. But because weightlessness in the creation of the Lord, by which he can make the gigantic planets fly and float in the air, he made the stones even within the earth to be weightless and prepared a stone bridge on the sea without any supporting pillar. That is the display of the power of God. Om Tat Sat. Magyanaatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayati Girim Yat Kripatam Paramanandam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. All right, so tomorrow we have a important festival. Sri Ramanavami is not just important for ISKCON devotees, but even outsiders, many Hindu families. Of late, it has been made a little political also. So, yeah, it is. It's actually a very nice festival, whether it is celebrated politically or with devotion. Anybody who takes the name of Lord Rama and glorifies Lord Rama or his devotees, they get a lot of spiritual credits. And spiritual credits is the only thing that we can carry it after this life. We cannot carry any other credits that we earning. Not even a coin that we earn can be carried to the next life. Right? So, having said that, the situation at which Lord Rama had to come was something very nice created by Ravana. So just to give a quick background, we all know that Ravana was born in a Brahmana family, and he can actually recite the Vedas, the scriptures, very, very, very properly, that even some Brahmanas at that time, they cannot actually do that. So he was very well educated, and educated in the sense just scriptural education, not a clear understanding of it. So that's why he wanted to lord over things. Right? Prabhupada very nicely brings it out that he wanted to build a staircase, or the original intent of any materialistic person is to actually become famous, is to actually become more to be talked about than others. Right? They wanted them to be in the spotlight than somebody else. That's the whole intention here. And Ravana was no less. The moment he gained powers, he got the boons from Brahma. He started actually going around the world. He got, in fact, just like Hiranyakashipu, Ravana also got boons from Brahma. Brahma again made the same mistake that he made with Hiranyakashipu. And but the only thing that the difference between Ravana and Hiranyakashipu is that Ravana also kind of safeguarded himself like Hiranyakashipu, but he didn't consider human beings as a threat at all for him. But Hiranyakashipu had put all gates, like he had even considered human beings neither by human beings nor by animals. That was one of the conditions from Hiranyakashipu. But Ravana never considered human beings as a threat for him. He was considering them to be insignificant, useless. So he never actually put a gate for human beings. Right? So special avatara like Nrsimha need not have to come. Right? So Ravana took that boon and he started terrorizing everyone. And he even disoriented the whole universal structure. Like, so to say, in Lanka, there was one there are different levels of barricades that were created. One of the barricade was that of Yama. So Yama was actually guarding Lanka, and it is said that anybody who comes to Sri Lanka, the Yamaraja will give them a big whip on them, and they will actually die in the whip of Yama itself. That was one of the boon that, or like, it is not boon, it is like Ravana had arrested Yama at the periphery of Lanka, and he had arrested Shani and put him in a cave. He actually put him in a cave. He hanged him upside down for 2 days, facing him the other side, and he will make him face towards him for 2 days, because he got a as per his astrology or something, he will have 2 days of influence of Shani and then 2 days of no influence. So he will have 2 good days, 2 bad days, kind of alternating. So when he had 2 bad days from Shani, he will make Shani hang upside down, and he will make him turn the other side so that his influence will not be there. So he was such a kind of person. So the moment he got powers, he went to the heavenly planets, he Indra, dethroned Indra, and then he came, all the demigods, they were chased out. They could not do their duty. They could not do their service for the Supreme Lord. That was the kind of situation that Ravana created. In fact, the whole of Ramayana started with a lady called Vedavati. If you know, Vedavati was a great devotee of the Lord. She was actually uh, praying and meditating to the Lord in Himalayas, just to actually be, let her be accepted by the Supreme Lord as his consort wife. She wanted to marry the Supreme Lord. Just like many of you know that in Tamil Nadu we have Andal. Andal wanted to actually married by the Supreme Lord. In the same way, Vedavati grew up hearing about the Supreme Lord, and she wanted to marry the Supreme Lord. And for that, she actually was doing a lot of austerities. And it so happened that Ravana was actually passing by in his Pushpaka Vimana, and he saw this beautiful lady. He kind of lowered his aeroplane and then approached this lady, tried to seduce her, but she wasn't quite keen to actually go with Ravana. He tried to actually speak to her that you're so beautiful, so and then he got to know eventually that she is trying to marry the Supreme Lord. He kind of like trying to put his pasha, saying that, okay, you better marry me. Why are you marrying that stupid fool? Kind of like that. And eventually she didn't oblige, and he got hold of her hair, and he wanted to bring her forcibly. That is when Vedavati, she burnt her own body, because it got contaminated because of the touch of Ravana, and she burnt her own body with the power of with her power of yogic power. She burnt her own body, and she also cursed Ravana, saying that if you ever attempt to actually uh, handle a woman without her interest, you will get killed. So that was one curse that fell on Ravana. And because of that curse, he could not even approach Sita without Sita's interest, Mother Sita's interest. Though he could actually um, kidnap her, but he could not actually, what you call, like, enjoy her, so to say, without her permission. So he could not actually do that for any women. Though he had so much of powers, he had many curses as well. One of the curse was when the what you call, like, Lanka was also guarded by another gate called as Lankini. So this Lankini was standing at the door. Yama was standing at the shore. At the shore, Yama was standing, and at the door, Lankini was standing. So Lankini was standing at the door, and she had a like a, it was foretold that if a monkey comes and slaps her, then that is the start of fall down of the whole Lanka, right? So obviously Hanuman came and Hanuman slapped Lankini, and she understood, saying that now it's the time for Lanka to actually get burned down. And that's why Lankini, who was guarding like a goddess, she was actually guarding Lanka. She left Lanka and went away after getting a slap from Hanuman. So in this way, uh, there were a lot of curse that was actually on Ravana, that uh, the day when a monkey comes, the whole Lanka will get burnt. So there was one curse like that. So a lot of curses were on Ravana, and he was actually like acting a little carefully within limits. Though he gained a lot of powers because of his lot of anartha, the wrong activities. So he gained a lot of curse as well. So he even so challenged once Lord Shiva. He tried to put his 10 hands under Kailash, and then he wanted to lift Kailash. And then Nandi came. Actually, he had some confrontation with Nandi, and he attempted to lift Kailash with his 10 hands. It kind of like shook the whole Kailash. But then Lord Shiva pressed his thumb, not his toe. He pressed his toe, and then Lanka, the Ravana's hand got completely stuck, and then he had to offer prayers to Shiva and then please him, and then he got himself released. So he did a lot of things which he shouldn't be doing, in fact. So later on, we know, saying that the demigods approached the Supreme Lord. They wanted some help because there was no means for them to actually kind of like get rid of this Ravana. So Lord Ramachandra actually appeared. Eventually, I'm just cutting things, a lot of things. So Ravana actually, Lord Ramachandra eventually went to the forest, and Mother Sita was kidnapped. A lot of things actually happened. A lot of devotees actually helped Lord. So we will maybe discuss something about some devotees and some of their um, unique acts from which we can learn some lessons out of it, and it could help in our spiritual life. So when Mother Sita was kidnapped, many of them came for help. One was Jatayu. So Jatayu was a very old bird, and um, he had no capacity even to fight, fly. He was so old. But then when he realized that Mother Sita was being kidnapped by Ravana, somehow Jatayu gained courage and went and fought with Ravana. And eventually Jatayu's wings was torn apart, and then Jatayu actually left his body. But what we can learn from Jatayu's mm, life is that even when we become incapable or completely powerless bodily or mentally, service to Guru and Krishna can never be given up. Right? That was the great lesson from Jatayu. Though he was old, though he could not fly, he still flew because he had a service to render. For the service that he has to render, he flew, and then he even sacrificed his own life. So that's the life of a devotee. A devotee will do anything and everything to please the Supreme Lord and Guru. For that, the devotee may actually go to any extent, and He wanted to please the Supreme Lord. So that was Jatayu. And when all the Vanaras went in search of Mother Sita, so that time we know saying that they came to the shores of the bottommost place of India, and they were kind of stuck. They don't know where to go. They were kind of like um, no options left out, kind of for them. They don't want to return also, and because if they return, it's like acceptance of defeat. They couldn't carry out the instruction of the Supreme Lord, and they don't want to return. They decided to fast to die at the shore of the ocean, because they had no hope. They kind of like lost. They don't see any ray of horizon for them to actually move forward. All options, all doors got closed. So all the Vanaras there decided to fast till their death. They didn't see any other option there. So the Vanaras there, they started fasting. They had no option, and that's when they heard the voice of Sampati. So Sampati again was like a old bird, and he was the brother of Jatayu, and he was so equally old, kind of. But then he got a Bhavishyavani that when he tells the information to Vanaras, he will regain his strength. So the moment he met the Vanaras, got to understand that they came in search of Sita. The moment he gave them the clue, he regained all his strength back. So Sampati, though he was at the shore of southern India, he was a bird and he had a vision, so clear vision that he could see Mother Sita in Atlanka. That was his, as a bird, they could see very far, right? So Sampati could actually see uh, that Mother Sita was in Lanka. And he told all the story to all the Vanaras there. And after that, he regained his powers and he went off. So what we can learn here is again the mood of Vanaras. They were not actually willing to accept a defeat in the service. They were willing to fight, but not defeat. They were not willing to get back. They had that strong faith that when they are doing a service for the Supreme Lord, they will succeed for sure. I could only recollect of incident that happened in Prabhupada's with Prabhupada disciple Yamuna Mataji, who once had a option. Prabhupada wanted hot rice in a train, and she had no means to actually arrange it. She only actually went to the pantry car there, and she said, the cooks there, allow me to cook. My spiritual master wants hot rice. Allow me to cook. They didn't allow. And then she went close to the door of the coach. She said, either you allow or I will jump from this train and die. Because if I could not uh, fulfill the order of my spiritual master, what is the use for me to actually live? I don't need to live anymore. Either you give the option to cook or let me jump from the train. Then the TTR actually came there. He had to settle the matter, and they were allowed to cook. That was the kind of dedication that devotees showed. A similar kind of dedication was shown by the Vanaras. They wanted to somehow or other fulfill the mission, or they preferred to die. So that's again the mood of a disciple. A disciple means they are sold horse. They don't have rights on themselves after they are sold. So they are sold to the spiritual master, and their only duty is to actually please the spiritual master. So for pleasing this spiritual master, a disciple should go to any extent needed to please the spiritual master. That's what actual initiation means. Initiation, the Diksha means Diksha Kale Bhakta Kare Atma Samarpan. So they do Atma Samarpan. They have no rights for themselves after that. Their life is only to actually fulfill the instructions of the spiritual master. Whatever the spiritual master says, the disciple needs to execute it at any cost. So we could see that in the life of Srila Prabhupada also, that he got an instruction when he first met Srila Prabhupada in 1922. And then later on, he got the same instruction days before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left. Right? The same instruction came to him in the form of a letter. And Prabhupada was simply meditating for the rest of his life how he can execute that instruction. And he made it happen by the time he left his body. He made that the instructions of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the desires of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, all of them were fulfilled. That's how a disciple should live. And Prabhupada said that I am just only one person from Bharata, and every person in this country is capable of doing more than what I have done. So Prabhupada believed in it, that each one of us living in this land of India, they can actually do more than what he has done. Right? So it's up to the disciple to take it more seriously. Like again, when there was one incident in Prabhupada's life where another disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur doubted on the instructions of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and Prabhupada was saying that, why are you doubting on the words of Bhakti Vinoda? One day, one foolish disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur will execute that instruction. And he said, it's not you, because he doubted on the words of Bhakti Vinoda. So he said, it's not you. And Prabhupada then later on, he was able to fulfill those instructions. So in the same way, this Vanaras, they got to know saying Mother Sita is in Lanka, but they don't know how to actually reach there. It was the ocean, and they had to jump across the ocean. And all the Vanaras started discussing that I can jump for these many meters. And they all started proposing 10 meters, 20 meters, 40, 50. So they all started saying their capability. Each of them actually spoke about what they are capable of, kind of like that. But Hanuman was one person who was silent, because he was cursed to forget his capability, right? And Hanuman was keeping quiet until uh, there was a need for him to use his powers for the Lord's service. He will be forgetful of his capability. So Jambavan had to come. He had to remind Hanuman that you are the only person who could do it, because he actually flew all the way to even gulp the sun, not just uh, next continent. He went cross planet, and he wanted to gulp the sun, and he gulped the sun also. He took such a huge form. He swallowed it until Indra came and struck his cheek for him to spit it back. Right? So that was Hanuman. So in his childhood, he had done all these mischiefs, and he was cursed to forget all his prowess. And uh, um, what was his name? Uh, some I kind of forget the name. What is the bear's name? Jambavan. Sorry. So Jambavan had to remind Hanuman about his powers, and then Hanuman was uh, reminded, and then he actually uh, leaped over. He just had one jump. He didn't even had to fly. He made one jump to actually reach Lanka, right? So there is a nice lesson that we can actually learn from it. Just like Hanuman's forgetfulness. Just like how Hanuman forgot his real power. Similarly, we all of us have forgotten our real identity. Our real identity is that we are spirit souls. We are part and parcel of Krishna. We have to be constantly reminded about these things. Because spiritual life actually begins only when we are conscious that I am a spirit soul. As long as we don't have that, we are not conscious of it, our spiritual life is more of sentimental. So we need to be conscious of the fact that I am never born. I am never going to die. I am a spirit soul. I have nothing to do with this matter. I have nothing to do with this material world. I am spiritual by nature. My nature is that of the same nature that of Krishna. Krishna is spiritual. I am also spiritual. I am never going to die. I don't need to feel any form of anxiety, or I don't need to lament for anything in this material world. Right? Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita that Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma na Sokshati na Kangshati. A devotee, a matured person, Brahma Bhuta, he sees everybody as a spirit soul, not as a body. Right? When we see the vision of a spiritually advanced person, he sees that there is a living entity, spirit soul is there in every person. And just that living person is actually covered by a material body. Material body is always dead. Material body never had life. Material body is a dead matter, just like a sand, stone, or any other thing, material thing. It's a dead matter. Similarly, this body is also a dead matter. It never had life in it until we entered into it. Right? Only when we are inside this body got alive. The eyes is able to see. The ears are able to hear because I am there inside. I am able to speak now because I am there inside this body. As long as we are there inside this body, the body appears to be alive. It just appears. It is never alive. Right? So body is never alive. Body is always dead. And we should always be conscious saying that I am a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. That's when spiritual life begins. Spiritual life begins when we have this understanding. Until we have that, we don't have that understanding, or we are not conscious of it all the time, our spiritual practices are also very sentimental. So every time when we are actually chanting the holy name of the Lord in the morning, we should be conscious that I am a spirit soul. I am somehow got trapped into this material body. Let me get freed from it and let me serve the Supreme Lord uninterrupted, unmotivated, unconditionally. That's how our prayer should be. Every time when we do devotional service, we should not think of the limitations of the body. Prabhupada never, saw his body, old aged body, to be a constraint for him to fulfill his spiritual master's instruction. At a very old age with 2 heart attacks, despite all inconveniences, he went to United States to preach. So bodily discomforts, uh, material situations, they will never change. Material situations means it will only give problems. It will always gives different forms of problems. Just like Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings, Nana Vida Vipada Par. That Arunodaya song, Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings, he said that there's Nana Vida. There is varieties of problems in this material world for each of them. So each of us here, we have our own story, our own problem story. When asked to speak, we have a lot of things to actually speak about our own problems. Some of them have family problems, health problems, job problem, this problem, that problem, all kinds of problems each of us have. And each of us have a justifying reason also, saying that why I cannot practice my spiritual life properly because I have this problem. So we can give a justifying reason. But a person who practices his spiritual life despite all these inconveniences and all this problem, only he succeeds. That's the secret. That's why we have different personalities in Srimad Bhagavatam today, because despite all their situations they were put in, they clinched on to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. They never budged from it, like Prahlad Maharaj. We don't see problems that Prahlad Maharaj had. His own father attempting to kill him. He was thrown from the cliff, tried to be poisoned, put under the feet of a elephant. I don't think any of us here have such kind of a problem, for sure, right? So despite that, Prahlad Maharaj was fully conscious of the Supreme Lord. That's why his name is there in Bhagavatam. He is not like us. He is different, right? He had no lesser problem than us. He had much bigger problem than us. And despite all these problems, he was remembering Krishna. The whole of Bhagavatam was spoken to Parikshit Maharaj when he had a 7 days death notice. Whole of Bhagavad Gita was spoken when Arjuna was in the war field, trying to kill his own family members. None of us have that kind of problem here, for sure, right? So spiritual life begins when, in spite of all the difficulties that we have, we still need to be Krishna conscious. That's when spiritual life begins. So the first step for it is to always be conscious that I am a spiritual being. I have nothing to do with this material world. That's what Hanuman's remembrance indicate. We somehow need to remember our real identity. Just like how Hanuman's identity was revealed by Jambavan, we need a spiritual guru, spiritual guide in our life to reveal our identity, that we are spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna, and our duty is to only serve Guru and Krishna here. We need to be reminded of it. And then after that, Hanuman leaped over to Lanka, and even while he was in the air leaping to Lanka, he there is one nice Acharya saying that Hanuman he leaped to Lanka not by the powers that he had. He leaped by reciting the names of the Lord. So Acharya say that he started with the name Ra in Indian shore, and then by the time he reached Lanka, he said Ma. He said Rama. You just reached there. That's all. So they say with one name of Lord Rama, he could actually cross all the barriers that were there, and he could reach Lanka. So in the same way, just by taking that one name of Lord, the Supreme Lord, we can also cross over all the barriers of our life and reach the shore for the service of the Supreme Lord, right? So that's why we should always cling on to the holy name of the Lord. The holy name of the Lord should be there in our mind all the time, and it should be recited, whether we are chanting with the beats or we are not having the beats in our hand. The holy name of the Lord should be always running in our mind. That's what Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dradavrata. Always remembering my names, always chanting my names. So anything and everything happens in our life, we should keep reciting the name of Krishna, Rama, right? So even when we sneeze, HG Krishna. So we should say something like that. When we are falling down, oh Krishna, oh Rama, oh Gauranga. That's how we need to actually fall. So we need to learn. We need to learn to practice the reciting the names of the Lord to be constantly there in our mind. That's why we are sadhana bhaktas. Sadhana bhaktas are supposed to practice, not to practice saying Ayyo, Amma, Krishna. So we should start saying Krishna, Rama, right? So that's a practice like a parrot. So first we start like a parrot, and we just say, just like the Acharyas say, the parrot may say the whole Bhagavad Gita, but when squeezed, it'll say can only. So we should not be like that. So we should actually, when squeezed, we should actually be more dependent on the Lord, because that is the sign saying that when squeezed, our reality comes out. What is inside comes out, just like when you squeeze a fruit. When you squeeze a fruit, the inner juice comes out. So what is there inside us, that comes out when even problems come, right? When we are put in a tough time, that's when what is inside comes out. Otherwise, the reality never comes out. We may put a nice tilaka, nice Vaishnava dress and cheat others. When we are squeezed, then we get to know the real Ravana within, right? So, yeah. So we need to be remembering our identity all the time, and we need to depend on the holy name of the Lord, just like Hanuman. To leap Lanka, he depended on the holy name of the Lord. And then, while Hanuman was leaping, he had 4 different obstacles. And the Acharyas actually talk about what are the different obstacles that he had and what is the lesson that we can learn from it. So, Hanuman, when he leaped, the first he got was a golden mountain. So, that golden mountain was never to be seen on the ocean. But then suddenly the mountain actually popped up from nowhere, right? And it is Acharyas also say that Hanuman was, when he leaped, he just didn't, just like in the cartoons, Ramayana cartoons, they say, right? Hanuman was flying just on the surface of the ocean. Not really, right? Hanuman, when he leaped, he went so high, just like uh, uh, different birds fly at different altitudes, right? A sparrow may fly at different altitude, a pigeon, a crow, and then there is a eagle, a vulture. They fly at a different altitude. So in the same way, there were acharyas say that uh, different personalities fly at different altitude. Like for example, the yogis, some of the rishis or the demigods, they fly at different altitude. Hanuman flew on they say, right, just like in the aeroplanes, they give altitude saying a, a jet fight or a passenger flight, they will fly at this altitude kind of. So Hanuman's altitude, he picked the altitude of that of Lord Shiva, because Lord Shiva is only one person, and nobody is there to compete with Lord Shiva, right? So that altitude was like fully free. If he had chosen the altitude of the demigods, then again there will be some obstructions for him. So he chose the altitude of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva also happily granted that altitude for him to fly, so that he can actually do his service for Lord Rama. So Hanuman picked that altitude and he was flying there, and suddenly from nowhere this mountain came up in front of him. So he had to kind of like put a brake on himself. So it is said that that mountain is an arrangement by Varuna. So Varuna, he had actually requested that mountain to actually come in the middle. So you may be wondering how mountain could actually come up suddenly. So our scriptures actually say that all the mountains had wings earlier on, and because they were flying and settling down at different places, it was creating a lot of discomfort. So all the wings of the mountains were cut off by Indra, except for this particular mountain, which was protected by Varuna. So Varuna had protected this particular mountain. It was hidden inside the waters. And then when this need arose, Varuna actually said, okay, you rise up, you're a golden mountain, and you rise up and give some resting time for Hanuman. So Varuna wanted to do some service. He asked the mountain to rise up, and then he wanted Hanuman to take a little rest and then continue his service. But then Hanuman, he had no time to rest. He was in the service, so he had no time to rest. So he came all the way to the mountain. He went to the top of the mountain. He saw the personality of the mountain. She requested Hanuman to take some rest. So Hanuman just touched his feet, touched his hands on the mountain, and then he continued his journey back. He had honored the request. At the same time, he had no time to take rest also. So Acharyas say that when we start doing the service to the Supreme Lord, a lot of facilities might come in front of us. If we get attached and get what you call like fall down into the uh, facilities of enjoyment that comes in front of us, then that becomes an impediment for our service to Guru and Krishna. We can use the service, but we should not settle there, kind of. Just like when we start practicing Krishna consciousness, sometimes we may get a lot of appreciations and glorification, just like Premadatta Prabhu spoke about me in the beginning, right? So some kind of like that appreciations may also come. If we take that inside our mind and start dwelling on it, then our spiritual life actually completely gets ruined. It is the duty of any devotee to glorify other devotee. They should glorify. When we meet somebody, some other devotee, we should actually glorify, right? But when the other devotee picks that glorification and feels great about himself for that, it's a fall down for him, right? So that's why when devotees hear others glorifying them, they kind of shut their ears and they don't hear that glorification. And instead, they kind of remember their spiritual master and thank their spiritual master for whatever opportunity that is given to them to do service to them. So that's how a devotee should be. So Hanuman, he never relaxed for that. He honored their uh, request. He touched the mountain, and then he continued his journey back. So later on, when Hanuman actually proceeded further, he had to meet with one monster. So this monster had a boon again from Lord Brahma. The monster's boon was, whoever crosses this part of the ocean, they will have to enter their mouth. So entering their mouth means entering death. They get eaten up by the monster. So they have to pass through their mouth. So Hanuman, he was flying and suddenly this monster came up with the mouth open. So Hanuman had no option. He had to actually confront with this monster because it was right in the way. He could not actually deviate and go. It was right on the way. So Hanuman had to confront this monster. So what Hanuman did is like he grew up. The monster also grew up big. He grew up, monster grew up. He grew up, monster grew up. He grew up, monster grew up. There was like a unending uh, competition there. The monster was growing more than Hanuman, right? And then suddenly what Hanuman did, he took a very small form. He quickly entered into the mouth of the monster and then he came out. So the monster's boon also was fulfilled. That Brahma had given a boon saying that anybody had to pass through his mouth, their monster's mouth. So Hanuman passed through its mouth. Monster became happy also. Monster became happy and gave way for Hanuman. So the Acharya saying that when we try to compete with somebody else, right? So just like Hanuman was competing with the monster, that monster was actually equally growing up in size, right? So we never actually try to compete with somebody in the spiritual life. In spiritual life, we better accept defeat than competition. Just like how Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, or even in Yamunacharya's life, so to say, not Yamunacharya, Yamunacharya's guru, I forgot his name, uh, Bhashyacharya, if I'm right. So when that Digvijay Pandit came to Bhashyacharya, say either you debate with me or you accept defeat. Bhashyacharya immediately signed and gave, saying that I accept my defeat. And same thing happened to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami also. When they came, when Digvijay Pandit came to them, challenging them in Vrindavan, the Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, both of them signed saying, I accept your defeat. because they felt it is useless to go and debate with these kind of people. It is useless. So they were very happy to accept defeat. Okay, you want this? Okay, take it. So they gave it kind of to that Digvijay Pandit. But then Jiva Goswami, who was there, Jiva Goswami, he was just cooking for um, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. And he was like, came with his cooking spoon and all those things. And then he defeated the Digvijay Pandit very easily. And Rupa Goswami was very unhappy with the act of Jiva Goswami that he defeated Digvijay Pandit. He wasted his time. And then for this reason, Jiva Goswami was sent out of Vrindavan, because in Vrindavan, it is said that there is no mood of competition. Those who are having a competing mind, they should not stay in Vrindavan. So Rupa Goswami sent out Jiva Goswami to Mathura, and at the border of Vrindavan. He was sent out. But then Sanatana Goswami then uh, forgive him and accepted him back. So what we can learn from here is that as a devotee, we should not actually attempt to compete with other devotees. Instead, we should be happy to see that other devotees are doing better service than me, and we should learn lessons from them. We should take inspiration from them to do our service nicely than competing with them and trying to actually show that I am greater than you, kind of. That kind of attitude is if we have, then just like Jiva Goswami, we may be sent out of Vrindavan. Right? So we need to be quite careful. So Hanuman did not compete with the monster, but instead he humbled himself, took a small form, and used his intelligence, got out of the situation, and continued his service. Right? So it is rather good to be defeated than won over and win the heart of the Guru and Krishna. That's what is more important for us. So then later on, when Hanuman proceeded, he kind of met with another monster. So this monster was very unique. So it was, I know I'm short of time. I will try to close it in next 5-10 minutes. Sorry about that. So this monster had a unique ability to hold on to somebody's shadow and capture them completely. So when Hanuman was flying, his shadow was falling on the ocean, and this monster caught the shadow of Hanuman, and Hanuman could not move any further. So Hanuman was like literally getting dropped from the sky at a very fast rate. He was kind of like dropping because the monster caught hold of Hanuman's shadow. The Hanuman was falling down into the mouth of the monster. So just before he fell into the monster's mouth, he regained some of his capability. He became tiny again. He entered the mouth of the monster. From the monster's mouth, he entered into the body of the monster. He punctured the monster's body at different spots, and then he tore that bodies of the monster and in different parts, and then he in different pieces, and then he came out. So the acharyas say that uh, the previous monster he encountered, he didn't have to kill the monster, but this monster he had to kill. The reason is that this monster was holding on to the shadow of the personality. Holding on to the shadow of the personality means that though the person has a lot of good qualities, this monster was only seeing the bad quality of him and holding on to that and talking only about that. So that nature of seeing only the bad qualities of others and not the good qualities is to show that how envious the personality must be. Because the person is envious, he is not seeing good qualities of others. He only sees a bad quality of others, and then he wants to talk only about the bad qualities and not the good qualities. A devotee is supposed to actually glorify others and talk good about others. The more we glorify other devotees, the more of the good in others comes to us. The more we find fault in others, the more of that fault, bad qualities will come to us. So what we speak about, that's what we actually get. So if we cling on to the bad qualities of others and we keep talking about the bad qualities of others, then there is no other option other than just like what Hanuman did, other than killing that monster. The previous monster he didn't had a need to kill because it was not envious. The monster was not envious. But here in this case, the monster was envious. So Hanuman had to kill that monster and get rid of it, kind of. So we need to ensure that in our life, at least, we don't cling on and speak about the bad qualities of others. Instead, our Acharya say that we should see bad quality in us than bad quality in others. Right? So that's what we can learn from this lesson. So this monster, this obstacle. So then Hanuman reached Lanka and he had two more obstacles. One of the obstacle was Yama. So Yama, he had a different story. When Ravana had powers, got his powers, he went to different lokas and he started defeating all the um, personalities there. So he went to Yamaloka also. The intention was to kill Yama, and none of his followers will have to die anymore. Nice plan. So if no Yamaraj, no death, right? So he wanted to kill Yamaraj. That was Ravana's plan. So he went and fought with Yamaraj, and Yamaraj was also fighting. It was like both of them were fighting, and it was an endless fight. And then Lord Brahma actually came and told to Yamaraj, saying that you give up this fight because you cannot defeat Ravana. The Supreme Lord himself has to come, and then he has to defeat this person. He has to kill this person. So you just give up your fight. So for that reason, Yamaraj gave up his fight with Ravana, and then he was in the shore of Lanka and trying to give a slap to anybody who comes, the slap of death. Anybody who comes to Lanka, they get a slap of death. Hanuman also got a slap, but he had no impact. Instead, he released uh, the Yamaraj, who was bound there, was chained there. He released Yama, and then he set him free. Right? So the lesson we can learn is anybody who takes the names of the Lord. Hanuman was always taking the name of Lord Rama when he leaped, when he landed on the shore of the Lanka. Also, he was actually saying Lord Rama's name. Anybody who takes the name of Lord Rama, they can easily even get freed from the problem of death also, right? And Yamaraj, in fact, gave a boon to Hanuman that time, saying that anybody who clings on to you, who remembers you always, they will never face me. Right? That was a boon that Yamaraj gave to Hanuman that time. So if you keep remembering devotees of the Lord, if you keep remembering the Supreme Lord all the time in your life, you will never face death in your life. That was a boon that Hanuman was getting there. And then he slapped Lankini, he went inside and then burnt up the whole Lanka for the service of Ramachandra. He met Sita. So many things actually happened. We don't have time to discuss that. So tomorrow is Ramanavami, and it's an opportunity to actually remember Lord Ramachandra, remember his great pastimes. So if we can keep remembering the Supreme Lord, Janma Karma Chami Divyam, as the activities and birth of the Lord as divine, and then keep passing our time remembering the Supreme Lord, then we get a good opportunity to go back to the spiritual world and continue our service to the Supreme Lord by chanting the holy name of the Lord and then staying happy forever. Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any comments, questions?
Hare Krishna, anybody has any question?
Nobody will have questions on story. It was more of story, I think.
Hare, this is
Yes,
so,
Mataji, go ahead.
more than question, Prabhuji, this is a learning that you have Lord with you. There is no obstacle. So there were some confusions for me, back in. I feel, I am blessed to listen to you today and fight for it, or just believe in my Krishna and move ahead. He will take care of things.
Jai Ho.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the blissful morning.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Can I ask one question? Because you were touching base on some of the wonderful lessons which we can learn as a devotee from all the pastimes of various devotees like Jatayu, Sampati, Hanumanji. So, and you touched base on this topic as well in between, where you were saying that, whatever is, we should not be like a parrot that all the time chanting Ram Ram, and when squeezed, it starts doing cow cow like that, right? So, how, I know it's very, maybe, but in short, if you can say that, how to bring that transformation that from inside, because externally we all are able to put nice tilak, dhoti, kurta, and, we want to show the whole world that I'm a great devotee, but internal transformation, in spite of constant chanting and constant doing sadhana, we struggle with the internal transformation. So, how do we do it, Prabhuji?
First thing is to be conscious that we are spirit souls. So that is very, very important. The moment we forget that we are spirit souls, then all problems actually start. Problems comes only when we lose our identity. It's an identity issue, basically. The more we remember ourselves, identify ourselves as a spiritual being, that we don't have birth, we don't have death, we will be anxiety free completely. We will never lament. A devotee is anxiety free. It's never anxious because he doesn't have any problem here in this material world, right? Problems are there only for the material body, not for me. He is anxiety free completely, a devotee. A devotee means he should be anxiety free. If he is not anxiety free, he is not a devotee, so to say. Because Krishna says, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Atma. Right? Prasanna Atma means he is anxiety, he is always happy. Na sokshati, na kankshati. No lamentation, no anxiety. Right? Because Krishna, he personally takes care of his devotee. The moment we become a devotee of Krishna, Krishna will take charge of a devotee's life. And the devotee is completely carefree. Just like how a child is taken care by the parents. Similarly, a devotee of the Lord is taken care by the Supreme Lord, for sure. And a person who has full confidence in this, to the degree of confidence they have in that, to that degree they get the protection of the Lord. Ye yatamam prapatyante tamstateva bhajamyaham. To the degree we are conscious of this and take shelter of the Supreme Lord, to that degree we actually get protection. So the degree we are conscious of that I am a spiritual living entity, I am servant of Krishna all the time, to that degree our spiritual activities also will not be superficial. So if it is superficial means we being tatastha, we keep forgetting all the time. Sometime we will remember, sometime we will forget. So the more we kind of be conscious that I'm a spiritual being, the more we can consciously do our spiritual activities also. So it's more of a question of how much you are forgetting, how much you are getting busy with this material world. The nature of material world is to keep us busy and forget. I don't know whether you had an opportunity to listen to one audio. There was one very nice video. Maybe I'll send it to you, Premadatta Prabhu. You can share it with others. It's a person. Maybe you might have seen it also. One person actually asks Chat GPT, saying that, how can you make somebody forget God? And then Chat GPT, I don't know whether it's cooked up story or not, but then Chat GPT kind of gives an answer to it. The answer that the Chat GPT gives is something like, he will not ask somebody to forget God, but he will keep him so busy that eventually he will not remember God. Right? That's how material nature is doing things. It will keep us so busy that we will not have time to remember Krishna. We will not have time to remember that I am a spiritual living entity. It will keep us busy and it will make us forget. That's how Maya also acts here. Right? Maya is acting by keeping us so busy that we will forget our real identity, we will forget our real nature, and keep thinking we are busy, and eventually become bodily conscious. So the more we can fight against, this is an internal fight. It's an internal fight to actually remain conscious that I'm a spiritual being. It's a fight. Despite all obstacles that are there, we have to fight to remember our real identity. A person who can do that, he wins. And it's a challenge for everybody, not just you. It's a challenge that every person in this world, every person who is trying to advance in spiritual life has this challenge to be conscious of his identity first. So when we are identifying ourselves properly, then our spiritual life will also be proper. To keep it short.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. It was very, very enlightening, because that's the thing which we always forget whenever we are doing our spiritual activities.
True, Prabhu, yeah.
Anybody else has any question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat
Hare Krishna,
Pranam.
Mataji. Dandavat, Mataji.
Prabhu, am I audible?
Yes, Mataji, very much.
Prabhuji, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. We are very fortunate and blessed to have your presence, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Prabhu, my question is that, you gave example of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, and they accept the defeat from Digvijay Pandit. Then, Prabhuji, we are also told that, whenever somebody is chastising our spiritual master, we should always speak, we should not hear. So, how to understand these 2 points, Prabhuji? Can you please guide?
Oh, here was the case of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami's personal defeat. Personally, they were very interested to accept defeat. They are seeing no problem. But had it been for some other devotee or for the Supreme Lord, they would have not accepted. So here the Digvijay Pandit challenged them, either you come and debate with me or you accept defeat. They have happily accepted defeat because they have no time. They don't want to waste time with him. So it was for a personal defeat. They didn't mind. But if it was for the Supreme Lord, if it was to say that, oh, Krishna is not the Supreme Lord, Brahman is supreme, if something like that would have come, they would have never left that challenge, for sure. Just like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was so, like heavy on Mayavadis that he would, it is said that while he was walking on the street, if he saw a Mayavadi, he will catch hold of their neck and shake them, saying that, why don't you accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He volunteered for that fight there, kind of. Because that's the duty of a preacher. A preacher has to face all these kind of people, and they have to convince them sometimes, and then sometimes fight with them, right? So while for preaching, yes, we may fight, but for personal things, we have no interest in fighting and wasting time, right? So even in preaching, if we see a ray of hope that this person, if he spend a little time he might actually become a Vaishnava. Then we spend time. If he comes only to challenge, only to debate and not to change, then we don't see it as a value. There are thousands and lakhs of other people whom we can turn to and preach. So we don't waste time with such people. So it's kind of depends on the person whom we interact with. Sometimes we accept a challenge and fight with them to establish the supremacy of the Lord, to help them also to become a Vaishnava. Otherwise, sometimes we just ignore and go. It is said that by even many materialists also speak about this kind of the greatest. How do you say the word? The greatest response that we give to an enemy or a person who is trying to come to fight with us is to ignore that person and keep going forward. Right? If somebody actually wants to see us defeated, wants to trash us down, if we ignore that person and then keep going forward, then that person actually gets more defeated than actually defeating him. So that's why many times our acharyas also say that when dealing with mind, we cannot fight with mind, right? We cannot fight with mind and win over, because mind is created by Krishna. We can never win over that mind. And mind is said to be the greatest enemy. So if we stand against the mind and try to fight, we will never win over mind. The best thing is to actually ignore it and just keep going forward. Then mind automatically gets defeated. So that's how we need to defeat the enemies, so to say. So sometimes simply by ignoring these kind of challenges that come in front of us, and then say, okay, I accept your defeat. Just say that and keep going. That itself means that we have defeated that person. So we don't really need to actually confront with them and then fight with them, kind of like that. But yes, at some time, some devotees have accepted challenge and they fought also. Some devotees have ignored them and defeated them also. We have pastimes for both, in fact. Right. So based on the situation, based on the time, place, and circumstances, the devotees take the decisions there. So generally, if it is against Guru and Krishna and Vaishnavas, we fight. If it is something personal, we are happy to accept defeat.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, I understood that if it's like personal, we should just ignore it. If it is coming to Guru Krishna, we should always, we can speak, right,
Yeah.
Prabhuji?
Yes, Matri.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Bhava.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Really nice. My question is, we are all Krishna devotees, and Ramnama is coming up tomorrow. And this is generally the only time when we kind of a little bit change our mood and then sing the glories of Lord Ram. And we are also people traditionally, especially before coming to Krishna consciousness, etc. We have always been brought up in the bhakti and devotion towards Lord Ram. And then this time it creates a little bit of a how to say it, conflict within the heart. And sometimes I also think that it's much more easy to get devoted to Lord Ram, because he accepts anybody and everybody, and Krishna will put us through more tests to purify us much better. So many conflicts happen in the mind, when I tilt towards Ram, which is then am I kind of ignoring Krishna, or which is the right mood, so how to keep both of them in the heart at the same time, or which is the right mode? I get confused many times, because attraction towards Lord Ram is also very high, especially during these days when we glorify him.
So I only see the confusion here, that you see Lord Rama and Lord Krishna as two different personalities. Right? So confusion arises when you see as two different things. When you see them that they both are same personality, there is no difference. There is no confusion there. You worship Lord Rama or worship Lord Narasimha or worship Vamana, Vasudeva, Keshava. All are one. There is no difference between them. Just that the mood in which they appear is different. That's all. It's like same personality in different moods. Narasimha was in the mood of anger. So many people actually are little, they wanted to see him from distance, not very, very close. Just like even when Narasimha was there, demigods were frightened to approach him, right? But Prahlad knew, saying that it's my same Lord. It's the same Lord who protected me when I was trashed by my father. And he never had, he didn't had a tinge of hesitation to approach Lord Narasimha. Because the person who had been protecting me all the time in my life, when he had personally appeared in front of me, how can he trash me now? So he never hesitated. Though Lakshmi herself was little fearful to approach Lakshmi Devi, right? But Prahlad didn't had any fear in his heart. So it's the mood of the Lord kind of varies. When the different avatars, different forms of the Lord come, the mood of the Lord varies. An avatara is a form of the Lord just to deliver us. Tara means to deliver us, to help us cross over from this material realm to spiritual realm. That's why avatara comes. The Lord comes so that he delivers us, basically, delivers all the conditioned soul. So we cling on to any form of the Lord, any avatara of the Lord, the result is the same. But the mood of the Lord is different in different avatars. Just like Nrsimha avatara, it was mood of anger. The mood of anger was more prominent than the mood of mercy there, right? The mood of mercy was very less in Nrsimha's avatara. Had the Nrsimha been more merciful, then he would have not torn upon Hiranyakashipu, right? But when we see the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was more of a mood of mercy than anything else. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was merciful to even forgive Jagai and Madai, sinners, great sinners at that time. He was ready to even forgive them. That was the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is same Supreme Personality, same Krishna, same Rama, same Narasimha, but the mood in which they appear is completely different. So it's the same personality. Prabhupada says that it's just like a lawyer at home and a lawyer at court. Both are same personality. But when you approach in the court, it will be more formal. They will speak saying that in as per section this and this, you should be doing like this. So they will speak law at that time. But when the same lawyer you go and approach in the home, he is a different personality altogether. But it's the same person, not a different person. So whichever avatara we get attracted to, we approach, it only means that mood of the Lord is getting attracted to us, kind of. That's all. But it's the same person. There is no difference between Lord Rama and Lord Krishna. In fact, seeing both of them as a different person, it's an offense. Right? It's offensive to actually see them as different. I know, like, don't take it offensively, but in conditioned state, in a ignorant state, we might actually speak like that. But the reality we need to understand is that both are same persons. Whether you approach Lord Rama or whether you approach Krishna, both are same. Just that when you approach Krishna, the mood is wholesome, right? It's wholesome. All the moods are there in Krishna. All the qualities are there in Krishna, but only some qualities gets exhibited in other avatars. But it is not that they are a different person. It is the same person, just exhibiting only some of the qualities prominently. It is not that other avatars does not have the other qualities. Lord Narasimha is also very merciful. He was very merciful to Prahlad, devotee, but not to Hiranyakashipu. right? The mood was a little different. So it's the same personality with different moods. That's what we need to understand here as. So Lord Rama and Lord Krishna both are same personalities. So we don't need to see them as two different things. It is not that when you are glorifying Lord Rama, he is Rama. When you are glorifying Krishna, he is Krishna. No. For us, both of them are supreme personality of Godhead. You worship Lord Rama, you worship Lord Krishna, the result is the same. Did it help, Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I mean, I try to console me various ways, like you mentioned, but when I hear it from your mouth, it is very convincing and clear, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu. Okay, should we stop here? It's almost 7:45. Yeah.
So, but I just wanted to say another thing is that many of the examples you touched today was about the devotion to a spiritual master. So last week, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj has initiated many disciples, and our circle also 12 devotees got initiated. Prabhu.
Jai Ho, Hari Bol.
It was all very timely that you gave many examples which were more related to, and you use the word initiation. What is the meaning of initiation also? So thank you so much, Prabhu, once again for taking out your valuable time and giving us so much valuable past lessons from the pastimes of Ramayana. I only humbly request on behalf of all the devotees that you should give us frequently your association, Prabhu. I think it is required. I have taken advantage whenever I got it, but maybe now more. We have much bigger circles, so your association will really help all of us to, move forward on the path of Krishna consciousness. Thank you so much once again.
Jai Ho, I just passed on what I heard. Thank you.
Well, I request everybody to unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra once, expressing the gratitude that Prabhu has taken his valuable time out for all of us in spite of so many engagements he has. So, Hare
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama,